All right, welcome everybody to the Southside Experience episode number 10. My name is Stefan, and I'm joined by my co-host Kylie, general manager of Southside Gaming. How you doing today, Kylie?
Good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Can't complain. I'm also joined by Southside Gaming's owner, Devin. How are you doing today, Devin?
I'm doing well. I appreciate it. How you doing today?
Good. Can't complain.
Love it.
And last but not least, Hector, team captain for the Lorcana squad. How are you doing today?
A little tired. Been cleaning up a lot today at the house. You know, today's cleaning day, building stuff for the baby. So it's just tiring day all around, but that's what that is all about.
What's your latest project right now in the house with the baby furniture or
so today I kind of cleaned up my whole game room where like I must have thrown away like 10,000 cards of comments on comments from every set. So I was telling a friend that in 25 years, when Lorcana is like one of the most popular games, somebody's going to be like, man, them set one comments are like $10 a pop. And I'm going to be like, well, I could have had like $30 million, but here we are, but, and then when it comes to baby, I built her like this nice little pink tent in her room. So we go in there, we read stories. I also built her like this little jungle gym. So she's there like climbing around while she does like a rock and roll headbang while she's climbing. And then I built her a sandbox in the backyard. And then I got to build like a little bassinet for the new baby that's coming. But I have a queue of like 20 things I got to do by the end of the week.
Yeah, just you got to keep it going, man, because once the projects start, they don't stop. So keep on going. And now we all understand why you're so tired.
Exactly, man.
Awesome. Great. Well, today we're actually really excited because we're not only talking about Lorcana, but we're going to be talking about Riftbound as well too. So today we split the show into two segments, and these are going to be the guests that we'll be talking about our Lorcana segment, and then we'll have two new guests joining us for the Riftbound segment. So we're super excited about that. But before we start, there's something else to be excited about, and that's Disney Lorcana Worlds this weekend. So our first part of the first segment will be World Predictions, which is actual event results and announcements. So I'm curious, guys. Let's start with Devin. I know that you must be super excited. You have your very own team member, Zach Bivens, on site right now at Disney Worlds, getting ready for Worlds. What's going through your mind right now?
We're like Oklahoma City, right? We already have the buses that says World Champion 2025. That's all I have to say. All right. No, I'm actually to be honest with you, obviously we're competitive and we definitely want to take it home. And when I mean home, I don't just necessarily mean Southside. I mean for Zach as well. I mean, even to prior him being signed, or I should say signed,
joining the team,
join the Southside team, man, he deserves it. Not only is he a very, very talented, passionate individual, but he just deserves it because he's an overall like an amazing person. And I'm more excited for him than anything. It's cool to obviously have the brand out there, but it's not even about that, man. It's about being able to be a support system for somebody that is not only talented but cares so much about the game and the community and family and friends. So we're just super excited, and we want to support every way possible. So, but I can't believe the time is here already, man. This is crazy.
Yeah, definitely. And Zach, from the beginning, the early inceptions of Disney Lorcana has honestly just catapulted to being like the poster boy for Lorcana. So, I think, whether your team Zach or not, like, I don't think that there is a better person that can accurately represent the embodiment of Disney Lorcana, because he's just a very very kind person. I had the opportunity of meeting Zach numerous times when he's come down to visit SSG. Very patient with testing, very methodical. Um, he he's just, it's great energy to be around, and I couldn't be any more excited for him to be representing SSG along with himself, and obviously hoping the best for him this weekend.
Yeah.
Hector, what about you? What I know you've been doing a lot of testing with him recently. What as a captain, how do you feel?
I mean, it feels great to have one of our own, right? Like our team hasn't even been that old. He's a great player. I've seen him like throughout the circuit, DLCs, and he's one of those hardworking players who he just puts in the time, right? So to see him over there, I'm actually kind of jealous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm jealous that I'm not there with him, but it's okay. He can win it this year. I'll go next year. So, but it feels great to see him out there, and I'm gonna be rooting him on while my child is doing backflips in her monkey thing. I'm gonna be like, with my headphones in the side, and then I'll have to call the wife and be like, "Hey, babe, I gotta use the restroom, right?" So I could go hide in for his matches. So I'm just excited to see that, man, and I'm excited to see some good Lorcana again, man. It's been kind of like a dry spell. We're here. It's kind of becoming a little dull, right? Like I love this game. I enjoy it so much, and then we need announcements. We need good things coming because so I'm hoping this. I'm looking forward to seeing those event notifications this weekend. But for Zach, I believe in him, and if he gets through the Super Seal, I went ahead and I did some voodoo last night for him, where I
Voodoo, bro.
yeah, I did some Cuban voodoo. So I prayed that he had getting like some really busted like seal packs, gets like a shark or two, like a really busted deck, and he goes 3-0 in there, and then from there smooth sailing. So I believe in his he was testing with Raymond his 3 deck choices, and he says he's locked in and ready to go.
Nice, yeah. And then just a sneak peek, we'll actually be talking about some. We'll be playing a little over under with Lorcana with Super Sealed. So Shark is definitely a conversation piece to be had in that time. But yeah, obviously wishing him success there. And then also to point out to you, Hector, you like acknowledging the run that you've had this year with Disney Lorcana from the competitive perspective. I'd say there are a couple of people from the South Florida region that have really pour their heart out when it comes to the competition with Lorcana. And this may have not been your year, but that doesn't stop next year from being yours. And I think you are probably well positioned in a strong team, and even non-team members in the South Florida region, like we all just lift each other up. So this year may be Zach's, but you're right. I think next year might be yours.
Yeah, I already made a deal with the devil at home. I let her know, listen, this weekend they're going to announce these events because she likes to be told ahead of time, right? So I'm going to make a PDF ready where for the next 8 months, every single weekend that I need to go, here it is, right? Obviously, I'm having a child in November, so I'm saying that as a joke, but I'm going to go as much as I can because, like I said, man, the competition here, I love it. And it's great. We're going with friends, and it's just, there's no other feeling. And I want that win. I want to go to Worlds, right? That's the one thing I got left to do. So hopefully make it happen next year.
Absolutely, yeah. And make sure you email me that PDF too, so I can forward it to my secretary.
We can work on a PowerPoint together. Hey, Metafy on how to convince the wives.
Right? That's awesome. So yeah. And then so for the segment itself, I kind of wanted to go over some of the predictions. I think there is a world where we've probably had enough events that have tried to cover the triple deck format. I know that at SSG we were also doing a couple of streams where we were doing Super Sealed. I know that there was some internal Super Sealed testing that we're probably not going to go too much in on, which totally respect. But yeah, it is. I think there's a lot to talk about. One of the things, and I'll go from my perspective first, just because I always love the contrasting point of views that you guys bring with someone who is, I would say, like I would like to say that maybe I'm like above average player, not like super strong, but like between the balancing of doing the content and whatnot, I think I have a pretty good grip of what to go into when it comes to the competition. So like for me, I think if I were one of the 28 people going in, I would probably go with a safe bet of the triple constructed, which would be Amber Steel, some form of green purple, whether it's discard or tempo, and then red blue. For that, the reason being is because even if one of my decks are eliminated, which, you know, if you know me, it's probably going to be Amber Steel because that's the deck I have the most reps in. I feel that the other two decks are very strong when it comes to playing as well too. So I'd like to get your guys' feedback. We'll start with Kylie. What would be your picks if you were one of the 28 for the triple deck format?
Exactly what you said. That's actually what I used at our exhibition
Mhm.
that we had last weekend, was it? I think it's just a safe bet, right? It's like it's 3 like good decks. Like at this point, I don't think any of them are super broken. But I think they're all fair. And you know, I like there's no like I was thinking about doing green steel, blurple and like red yellow. And like I'm like, all right, everybody that knows me is just gonna ban green steel. They're just gonna ban green steel. I'm never gonna play that deck. And then I'm stuck with Blurple, which is a good deck, but then I have red yellow.
Fair.
But, you know, which is not the craziest deck of all time. So I'd rather just lose like the Amber Steel or the green purple and be able to play 2 good decks so that I kind of give myself a chance. But it was fun. It's actually, you know, it's a very different mindset you have to have. I think Hector can agree when you're playing this format. We actually started out, we were getting smoked. We were getting smoked in the beginning. And we came back at the end where we did good against Inkcasters and with the 4-way tie. And then I think we kind of found the rhythm of it. And we actually swept the last 2 rounds. We swept Freedom and we swept Inkcasters in the finals. But you have to get your mind like in the state of like okay. So you have to be like, if he's going first, I ban this deck. Which deck is he gonna play going first? So that I could be like, what am I gonna play going second? And it becomes almost like a mind game where like if you pick wrong, it could be detrimental. You know, like I lost the die roll against the Inkcasters in the finals, and we had the same decks. But it was a grand final, so nothing was banned. So I'm like, all right, if he's on the play, he's probably gonna play his fastest aggro deck. So he played Diggy. So I'm like, red blue is definitely not. I don't want to pick red blue into Diggy. Let me see if I can do something with green purple. Like if I can establish, if I can fox right, if he doesn't go super crazy. And I was right where he picked, you know, Diggy. But like if he would have picked the mirror match, I would have been at a disadvantage because I would have been green purple on the draw. He's on the play. So it's kind of cool that it adds that layer to it. But once you kind of know, you know, and kind of like anticipate like that the opponent's going to kind of pick the best chance that they have and not try to catch you off guard, you can really lock in and it's actually really fun. It's really fun to kind of keep going back and forth. You know, where it's not the same thing. Like, you know, I was so used to green steel. I probably jammed 1,000 games on that deck since set 4. And so it's kind of a refresher where you're like, all right, I'm playing 3 different decks. And it kind of gets you a little better at your own deck because you kind of start to understand what people are thinking when they're making these lines of plays.
Fair. Awesome. I'm going to do a quick interrupt though, because I do have a special guest joining us. I just want to make sure that they're ready. Okay. It looks like they're ready. We have no other who needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. We have the Zach Bivens joining us for a couple minutes. Let's grab him in.
I don't even know he was. Oh my god!
Let's go.
So, it looks like you might be at the boardwalk.
Am
I
I
correct?
Boardwalk. Yes. Good
Nice.
guess. You got it.
Awesome. How are you enjoying your trip in Disney so far, Zach?
It's fantastic. Yeah, it's been amazing. So no
Oh,
complaints
that's
here.
awesome. Good. A lot of rest and relaxation ahead of what is quite possibly the biggest moment this year for you. How are you feeling?
I feel great. There's been very little rest and relaxation. I've been grinding like crazy. But,
Oh,
yeah, feeling
okay.
good.
I mean, I don't think we would expect any less from you.
It's good, man. Get that rest till tonight at least, because tomorrow you're gonna be up against these Sharks. And like I said, I told you earlier, I did some voodoo for you so you can get that good Super Seal deck. And we'll see you in day 2 plowing people, man. Good luck out there. We wish you the best.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm the biggest shark, so no fear here.
I love
That's what I like
that.
to hear, man.
I
Love to hear that.
Yeah.
So
bro.
also, Zach, let us know if you need help carrying that trophy out. We'd be more than happy to come visit you and help you out with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna guard that thing with my life.
As you should.
No, if you win, I'm picking up my wife and child, and I'm driving to Orlando, and we're doing a parade out there. We're making this happen.
Bro, I already
Yeah.
got everything booked. I have it booked already. Kylie and I were
we
already
can fly. It's a-
we're dragging you guys out here.
It's a 45-minute flight. Oh boy,
Flight. We take the Bright Line.
Bright line. That's 2 hours, bro. I need to get there as fast as possible.
Bro, yeah. the
Hector is over here
yeah,
saying time is money.
Time
Yeah,
is
all
money.
the time.
Exactly, Devin. Time is money, man.
With that being said, Zach, we don't want to hold you up too much from your family and stuff like that. We wanted to bring you on, wish you the best of luck this weekend. Any parting thought? Do you have anything that you want to let not only the viewers but potentially the other 27 people in the room leading into this weekend?
I mean, just to the viewers, just thanks for all the support. Always appreciate you guys. You're always the best. So win or lose doesn't matter at this point. It's all gravy. So we're here. So we're gonna
Right.
make it happen.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach. I appreciate you coming on. Make sure go get. Have you had a turkey leg yet?
Oof,
No
baby.
turkey leg. I'm
No
allergic
turkey
to
leg.
turkey legs.
Okay.
Hey,
Have you
gotta
had
go to
a?
Ohana's, bro? Go to Ohana's at the Polynesian and enjoy yourself some dinner, bro. That is one of my favorite restaurants over there.
But do all that afterward. Don't
Yeah, afterward.
Yeah.
don't mess up your stomach, bro. Don't mess up the algorithm. I know you have like a ritual, bro. Don't throw it off, bro.
Nah. We got it down, man.
Awesome. Well, we wish you luck, Zach. Have a good rest of your evening. Great weekend. And we at SSG, not only at SSG, but around the world, will be watching you.
I appreciate you guys. See ya.
Take
All right,
care.
man. Take care.
Oh, man. What a wonderful surprise. I actually didn't think he'd make it on in time, but that is
Bro.
super awesome. You can tell. Look at the
Cool.
excitement in his face, man. That is a perfect blend of determination and just like almost like relief. He's like, I made it. I'm here. Like now it's time to show.
He's ready, 100%.
Yeah, he's chilling on the boardwalk
to
right
be honest,
now.
A big reason why I think we won in the end, the exhibition thing, was literally all the practice like the prior week that we did with Zach for that exact thing.
Nice.
I literally think like Zach's just kind of putting us through like that little grinder, like almost kind of like it kind of all clicked in. It was almost like you're applying everything you learned now. That's why I said at the beginning we were getting cooked, and I think we were all playing like normally, and then I think we kind of tapped into like what Zach had shown us and like what we had, Zach beat the crap out of us. I mean, Zach just pummeled us.
Isn't it great when you practice and you have your team to practice with you, and then the guys that said they want to practice, your team that practice with you actually shows up, and you know what I'm saying? It's just great. Everything's about practice.
That speaks volumes. I think there is a lot of value in the cohesion of being on a team where the players support each other, prop each other up, fill in the gaps where you need the support. And, whether you have 2 members or 100, I think as long as they all work together for the common goal, I think that's the magic of having a team. And see that.
I don't know about Devin. Devin don't support us. He'd be like, every round he'll go to my opponent. He's like, this person's gonna beat you. Like,
yeah, you know why? Because I need to get the hunger out on you.
I guess that was the support. That was the support. He's like,
Hector, you're the greatest, and you have Hector coaching over there. Hector. No, we need to bring the fire out in you, bro.
Bro, Hector.
That's the thing.
Listen,
I
bro.
am like, listen, I'm like the Hulk. I always have the fire. That's what it is. I walk in the room and I'm always locked in when it comes to those games. I might be happy, but I'm always locked in when it needs to be.
You know how you know Hector's locked in? Cards in hand.
Yo, no, listen, I haven't played Hector because Hector always dodges me for some reason. And I finally played him for the first time the other day. Bro, the stuff that he says outside of cards in hand, he goes, okay. That's not bad. After you like, I go like this for my turn. I said, I'll
But
play
what
this,
happened?
play X, play Y, pass. That's it. Okay.
But you caught these hands, bro. That's all that happened.
Yeah, because I play. Don't worry. Hey, listen. This is what I think we should do. Right? Because after this 3-deck format has been showcased, I think that I'm a big believer in it, and that's how you show, in my opinion, show true. Talent. So I think that's what we're gonna play. If you beat me, just heads up on a game, you have a good matchup against me. Okay, get the 3-deck, my boy. 3 decks.
All right. That's a gentleman's challenge. A gentleman's
Yeah,
challenge.
This ain't no gentleman's challenge. This is
3-deck format is the gentleman's challenge.
I'll be there on Tuesday at 3:00 with my 3 decks.
No,
Right.
you're gonna be in
Listen,
Orlando
talking
on a
about
Tuesday
these 3
bender,
decks since Devin
celebrating a
talking-
world's win. You're
since
not
Devin
gonna
was talking crap. So these 3 decks, this like he was saying, when you're playing with 3 decks, like you have to get the repetition in, right? Because look, I didn't even look at the rules or anything. I knew it was 3 decks. I have to come with 3 decks. I didn't look at the rules or anything like that pretty much until the day of, and I didn't get enough practice, right? And so to what Stefan, what you said is like you will go with your safe picks, right? So that's ideal, but then when you go with safe picks, that means you have to pick a deck that you've never played, and it's kind of like weird, and then it just makes you, I don't know, it makes it harder for you in a sense. So for example, my lineup, I did red, blue, green, yellow, because I have months of testing on both of those decks. So I thought, you know what, I have to win with one of these decks regardless. So I just got to take a win with the other. And then purple steel. So purple steel was, to a better word, was ass. I built a deck that had to be my deck winning on the play. So that's another thing, right? You have to pick a deck that you need to win on the play, that you're going to go when you go first. So you have to win with that all the time. And then a deck for, on the draw. So I thought, you know what, these 2 decks, I know how to play them on the draw. And if they ban purple steel, I know how to play them on the play and on the draw. So I'm good, right? I just got to win with purple steel on the draw. Get round 1. I win game 1, and then I lost 2 games because of purple steel, just because I felt like I wasn't prepared enough with it. And it came down to like a lot of the mulligan choices. Like I wanted to keep certain cards because I thought they were good, right? But I didn't have enough testing with it. So I don't know if that was correct. So as the tournament went by, I started realizing what I had to do with the deck, but the deck still felt like it wasn't performing. So imagine you're going to Worlds, right? So let's say if I was in that position and I have to pick 3 decks, if you go with the safe decks, first of all, if you're a player that you're known for playing a color, right, you're at a disadvantage because your opponent is going to probably ban that, right? So you're never going to play that. So what I feel like a lot of these players are going to do this weekend is people are going to be playing some weird color combinations. Because, for example, if you go DKP, right, you played a lot of red-blue, right? If the man cues a red-blue, you're going to be like, well, probably going to get banned at this, right? I'd rather take my chances with other decks, right? But now some of these players are going to show up with some weird color combinations and weird decks, because that's what's going to catch people off guard, right? Like if the level of play there is going to be insane, and if you catch people off guard at these tournaments with some of these decks that they don't know how to prepare for on the play or on the draw, then chances are you can squeeze in 1 or 2 wins, and that's all you need to make it, right? Aside from the super sealed. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these players are bringing a lot of spice. Of course, there's going to be a couple that are going to go with the safe picks, but these are the innovators of the game. A lot of these guys have played these big tournaments with a lot of decks. They've played several decks, right? So I could picture a lot of them topping with with some off the spice, some good spice. For example, like if you go to these DLCs, like a lot of these players that top sometimes are with a surprise factor, right? They take these decks that are like that you don't see very often, and you got them topping, or like these super aggro purple yellow decks, or like weird combination because it catches people off guard. So I would expect that here too. You bring 3 decks that makes your opponent catch the attention of something, right? And that's also a mind game, right? Maybe I bring a deck that catches your attention so much that you ban it, and then that's what I wanted you to do, right? Then I'm comfortable with my other 2 picks. So I expect to see that a lot. But the
Yeah, there's
format,
definitely a lot of gameplay outside of the gameplay that I think is important, and
100%. The
it
banning,
will
yeah.
it will definitely affect the outcome. And I think a lot of people who are trying out this triple deck format are realizing that it's a game outside of a game.
Yeah, 100%.
The grand finals is what's going to make it super complicated because you have to win one time with every deck.
That actually, I think that's better, to be honest. If every match was like, hey, these are the 3 decks, we roll a die, you got to win with all 3 decks. I think that's okay. Now, when you're banning a deck and you're forcing your opponent that they got to win with a specific deck on the play, no matter what, best of 1, it makes it a little more complicated, I think, in my opinion. I guess that's how I felt. Like with Purple Steel, if they didn't ban it and I won the die, I got to win with Purple Steel. I'm throwing that deck out there first every single time, right? But
Fair.
it felt really bad. So I guess I don't know. That's my opinion on it. But of course, and then the high level play from these guys that have played with many different decks, that's gonna, it's gonna show, right? Compared to somebody that's just like a one trick pony that plays one deck all the time. Like you can see that people are gonna start failing in that scenario.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, and then also too, kind of rolling backwards. I know we did focus a lot on the triple deck format, but there is another component to this event, and that's actually the super sealed format too. So before we start heading into our next segment, I did want to spend a couple of minutes talking about this section. I wanted to do a game called Over Under. I think what we'll do is we'll each present a card or two based on our findings for sealed, and how well it'll perform or underperform, and your thoughts as to why. So Kylie, let's start with you. What's a card that comes to mind for you that you will either see that it's either like overrated or underrated, and I guess we'll go from there.
I think a lot of legendaries are actually like overrated. Like I think some, like, not worlds level players obviously, but a lot of people will be like, oh, I got a legendary, like this card's powerful, I want to build around this card, and not realizing that like the pool has to be bigger, and like the colors have to support that card, or that card has to do something for you. But I think one of the best cards I found was Mother Gothel, red purple. She became like a little bounce engine for me, where I could do, something with like a dock or even a Pete, or something that I wanted like with an on play effect. Mother Gothel would, do her thing, put the damage, bounce the red purple one. Dang, everybody left us, man. They don't care what nobody cares what I have to say. Oh my god. So rude. So rude, guys.
It's all right, Kylie, I'm here for you.
Another sleeper card for me was the purple panic card. It's like a damage mover, so kind of like a shift bell. And purple Kuzco. I think the Kuzco is a 4-drop. When it enters play, you bounce a 2 or less character, item, or location. And that kind of helped like really well, because like you can bounce your own cards, do your on plays again. And also, if there's an item on the board and you just don't have item hate, or there's a location that's like 2 or less, it's kind of been ticking at you, that's annoying. Kuzco can just get that right off the board. So just like little cards that like I would never use in Constructed, that I think have a lot of play here. Especially when you have cards like Pete and Doc. Like, if you can bounce these, what Lorcana cards are frauds? I'll tell you the frauds, bro. 80% of the legendaries, bro. If like in Azurite Sea, if your legendary doesn't say Maui Shark, it's a common. Like straight up.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, you do have to point out the elephant in the room, or in this case, the shark. And I will say, at least in the testing that I've seen, if you pull shark, that's like 3/4 of your game. Like and poor Ray, who caught the receiving end of not only one shark in his first super seal, but another, and then that doesn't even count the internal testing. But I think it doesn't have to, there's no secret here. evasives tend to do very well in sealed formats, and Maui Shark is like the evasive card in super sealed that will be performing well. So whether you get one, I mean, if you get one, it's great. If you get two, I mean, I think your first 3 rounds are going to be very easy.
If you get 2, bro, GG's, bro. GG's. I mean, there's actually it's actually really deep. I mean, I've never practiced sealed as much as I practice this format just to show everybody on stream, and then obviously to help like Bivens and the team.
Mhm.
Obviously, I'm not going to give out the sauce. There's a lot of things that we kind of discovered, but it's not as simple as you would think. It's not. A lot of cards that are good in core constructed that you automatically think would go in your deck in sealed are not good in your deck in sealed, and they don't go in that deck. And it's really just about the right of like. One thing I will say is you definitely have to have the right amount of inkables to uninkables, and you have to have a game plan, and you have to have a curve and like tempo.
Sure.
You can't just put every 1 and 2 and 3 drop in and say, man, I'm just going to ram the board, because when a big boy comes out, there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
And then you know, like I see George mentioned Sail, right? If you pull Sail and there's nothing good in blue to back you up, you don't have the ward cards, you don't have the right support cards, even though like Sail is such a good card, it almost benches blue as a color, because you're like, man, I don't have the right pool of cards.
Sorry, guys. I had an emergency call that I had to take. I could not like pass it up.
You didn't care
Oh,
what
that's totally fine. No, we were able to carry the show.
carry it on our backs. But yeah, those are mine. I guess I don't know if Hector, have you even played this super sealed at all yet?
So I honestly, like, I just reviewed cards with Zach when he came over. Like, we opened a bunch of packs and then we just separated them in piles of each that we said, hey, we think this is playable and this is not playable, and then a maybe pile. And we each reviewed each other's piles to see how our how our picks would compare to each other, so that we could see pretty much everything we pulled. What I didn't play it much, but what I would say is, like, in sealed, like, I think evasives are king, right? Like, if you open up a color with a bunch of evasives, like, you have the advantage, because your opponent needs their own evasive to run over your stuff. And sometimes if they don't get enough evasives, you could just run away with the game, right? Like, that extra lore, it's too much. So for that, I would say, I think based on the packs, I think purple had a lot of evasives. It was either purple or red, right? One of those colors. Those are really good colors, in my opinion. Blue felt like it was underwhelming. Like, you say, hey, maybe you open up 4 sales or something like that, and maybe you could work something. But blue felt like it underperformed a lot. So you wanna have enough, like, board control or creatures that interact with the game, because it becomes like, who jumps first, I think, right? Like, if you're building up a board and then who jumps first, because the moment you quest out too much and your opponent that one turn just breaks your board, and just, let's say, for example, you're at a stalemate, right? And you jump the gun and you quest for like a good amount, and then your opponent just breaks your bowl fully, and then they have 2-3 guys left to your none, and you're just like, well, I just lost the game because I rushed for this lore, right? So in those standards, there's not many like good combinations of like combos. It becomes like, sometimes who has better stats on the board and who can control the board better. Obviously, there's those games that maybe your opponent just opens up the nuts, right, where they get a bunch of super aggro cards and they just go aggro you out. That could happen as well. But more than likely, I think more of these games that you're going to see are going to be like mid to late game, unless somebody opens up with multiple evasives and runs away with the game because your opponent can't answer them, since there's not much removal, really, right? So you just need your own guys to be able to counter theirs. So it's kind of like tough. It's tough if you don't know how to play those matchups. Like I said, if you jump first, like you gain like a little bit of lore, but your opponent like just sacrifices some lore to be able to control the board, and then that 1 or 2 turns might be the end for you, right? And of course, Maui Shark is just a huge evasive that gets you back a free card. He's just insane, right? He'll at least kill 2 cards, and he'll get you back a card. So it's just such a good card. Like, look, another good card I thought was Yago. I think if you put Yago, he's overstated like crazy. Anything that pumps your guys to be able to survive is just insane, right? That's from what I saw. I didn't practice enough, but that's just my understanding. You pick colors that combine good with each other. And then something else that I didn't, that's kind of hard is like, okay, so once you open up all your packs, you're going to pick up all the playable cards. That's not going to be enough. You need 50 cards in the deck. So more than likely, you're going to at least need, let's say, minimum 10 other cards to fill in those colors, right? So let's say you get to your for sure picks, you pick your 39 cards that you want in the deck, and then you got to fill in the rest, right? Like you can't leave it. So you're going to put cards that are mediocre now, and that fills into your play, right? You're going to fill it up with bad cards. And then if you draw those and your opponent draws better, then hey, so that's something else that you got to consider as well.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, great insight, Hector. And, if Super Sealed wasn't a cost prohibitive factor, I would love to see more of it done just outside of Worlds. I know the caliber of players at SSG would obviously love to do that. And it becomes just having the product available at that point. But I just think there's just a ton of unexplored experiences when it comes to Sealed and Lorcana. And I think that Super Sealed was kind of the answer to make it super exciting to do. It's the first time we got to play with up to 3 inks in a deck, having a sideboard. It's a shame that it's just, again, like that the grinders in us would be would go bankrupt playing this format all day because of how exciting it can be. And I hope that Lorcana finds a way to make it less cost prohibitive, so that way more people can enjoy it, because I truly think it is a fun format. And I would hate to see it just a Worlds thing. So
it would be really cool. I know we're about to go to transition, but it would be really cool if when they did the Arcasius Island, the gift set. It would be really cool if Lorcana or Ravensburger created a product like that, to where it's already pre-made, just ships it to the stores, and there's a nice solid MSRP price tag on there. And I think they could do something like that, where they can really push it. So this way we don't have to source everything.
Right. You can do that, and then a thing of sleeves. Here's a way to do it. You can do that. You can do unique sleeves only available in that product, so that product moves. And it almost, think of it like as a super trove, right? So because like troves, you can do like a limited format trove, 8 packs, sealed constructed. I think that was a missed opportunity, because I think in the DLCs they were doing 6 packs. But having those 2 extra packs, maybe making it 3 colors, it comes with lore counter dice. I think that there's an opportunity to revisit that, at least for the DLCs coming up, if they decide to maintain a sealed format. I think that's a no-brainer. But coming up with the product development, Ravensburger, if you need some help on some ideas, we're cooking.
You guys aren't wrong, because people can either buy this to play an event, or they can just buy this because they want to rip 16 packs.
You know what's also nice about this that people don't consider? Yeah, the format is fun, but what makes it good, and I think it's cool that it did at Worlds, is that it tests you to build a deck in under an hour, right? So I think you have 45 minutes to an hour. They sit you down. They're like, hey, here's your 16 packs. Build a deck that's playable and play against the best in the world, right? So that takes into consideration. A lot of people, you might waste your time and not put the optimal deck, right? Also, so a cool form of event that we could try to do is, and you know how they did 4 of every pack? Maybe you could do like a starter deck and some packs battle, right? Where you have a readily available starter decks that we have at the shop, and you run a tournament where it's a starter deck and 4 packs, or a starter deck and 1 of each pack from different sets. And that's more cost effective, saves money, and it still could be fun, and at least the starter deck is pre-made. You just add some cards and make it better.
For sure. Awesome. Well, with that, we're going to conclude our Lorcana segment for tonight's show. Before we send Kylie and Hector off for the evening, I did want to do one last thing with them. I got this inspiration from another podcast that I listened to, and I thought it'd be really interesting here. But I wanted to do something called Hot Picks. So Kylie and Hector, we'll start off with Kylie. Give us something that you've had interest in lately that is not Lorcana related, or card games in general. Just something that, is there a movie coming up, or some other type of hobby that we don't know about? Maybe underwater basket weaving.
I wish, bro. Honestly, bro, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of times I could have given you a lot of answers, but right now Hector and Devin know Bro, I'm chasing that Final Fantasy Master Set.
Stop. I don't even want to talk about that.
Bad,
You
bro.
are the most ridiculous degenerates I've ever met in my life.
Wait,
Bro,
Especially you.
Stop.
okay.
The scrutiny I get from opening stuff. Oh my god, let me get that.
Bro, it's
oh, wait,
bad right
no
now.
one
bro.
told me my
Kylie,
camera's
can you tell me
mirrored.
messed
Hold
up?
on.
What?
Tell
No
him
one
that he
told me my
messed
camera's
up.
mirrored. Here we go.
There he goes.
There we go.
Brother, I
Ooh.
opened one of those and I have it in a binder right now.
Yeah,
I-
you had to. We had to open one of each for a binder.
Yeah, you messed up. You know why you messed up? Because I got some collector's boost bundles coming right now.
Yeah,
Then
bro.
you better save me some, bro. I traded in all my stuff for store credit, bro. I have store credit.
That's crazy. That's because you dealt with the wrong person, like I always tell you.
No, is I rather just put store credit so the shop sells and makes a cash, bro.
Bro,
I'll
I'm-
take the
I'm
store
not
credit
lying,
and chill
bro.
there.
I
I'm
love it,
thinking
bro.
about driving back to rip them bad boys with Debbie Rips, bro.
Oh, you're getting more.
Kylie,
bro.
you're banned from the store tonight, bro. Stefan, did they tell you what,
Dang, bro.
Hector and Stefan, did they tell you what happened?
Yeah, I heard. Trust me, I heard.
I
You
have
heard
no
something?
idea.
I'll kill him, bro. No, I feel you. But save me. If you're gonna sell them, save me collectibles. I'll buy them. Don't sell them to anybody else. I'll take them.
No, we're gonna rip them.
Oh Lord, please.
Bro, you just
I'll
get the
pay for
cards you
you.
need. You just get the cards you need. That's easier.
Good, Kylie.
Yeah,
I'll fight Kylie. I'll fight you for these
Word
Final
for
Fantasy
word,
cards.
baby.
Well, as for me, I'm collecting the Final Fantasy as well. I've put a second mortgage on my house to buy these packs. I'm addicted. I'm going to a meeting tomorrow. It's pretty bad.
I might have to sell this to buy more
Stop.
cards.
Get that crap out of here.
is
Why do
that?
you always show this bad card every time?
First off, who would send that in to get graded?
Bro, I don't
Look.
even know what movie that's from. Never mind. I think that's from
That's Moana's dad, bro.
Yeah.
Moana's dad.
Moana.
Bro, stop.
Bro, pop one. There's only 110 of these in the
Yeah,
world.
I-
baby.
who
I'll
does
give you
that?
$5 if you boot him off right now while he's doing this. Just boot him. Like, just send them off.
That's
Um,
awesome.
for me and some of the guys in the community, we've been playing like in our time. I play this other card game and we've been playing Shadowverse, right? A new card game that came out. Actually, it's been out for like 10 years, but they just remade it. And Ray, our teammate, put me onto it. I was like, you know what? F it, I'll play it. And then now our close guys here in the community, we made a little guild just to play for fun, and we've been grinding it out. The game seems fun.
That's rude. You get me to play the game and you don't invite me to the guild.
I don't know.
Isn't that how it is all the time?
game.
You guys just tease me with Locan, and I don't even join the squad. That's
I
rude.
didn't even know you were
It's
playing
okay,
this.
Devin. If it makes
You
you feel
told me
better,
to
I don't play.
download it.
So we can
You're the one
help
that's-
you together.
Bro, you told me to download this game. It's amazing. It's like Hearthstone.
That
Yeah.
was Mikey. I didn't tell you that. All right, so I'm gonna show you the decks later because I'm obsessed with that game too. The game is good and it's pretty fun. We just did like a little fun guild just for the F of it, and we're just playing casually until Lorcana, until this weekend they tell us that there's gonna be 20 DLCs, and then we gotta buckle
No
up.
one could only wish.
Ooh, yo, we're gonna pre-book everything. Let's just
Yeah,
pre-book everything. Just
Listen,
knock out
DLC.
the park.
Yeah.
You're hearing it first here. DLC Miami is coming.
You'll see Miami, please.
Bro,
Miami is
please.
coming.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thanks guys for joining us. You're more than welcome to stay in the green room for our next segment, but I'm going to go ahead and get our next guest coming in. You guys have a fantastic night. All right, Devin, you excited? You ready for this?
I'm very excited, bro. They crack me up, man. I love it. I love it.
All right.
Are
First
you
on,
excited? That's the question.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to talk about it. I'm really excited to play it. I will be bringing on my co-host for the segment. You know him. I know him. We know him. It's First to 20. Skinner, let's just make sure. Give me a thumbs up. Make sure you're ready. Thumbs up. All right, here we go.
The man, the myth,
There he
the legend.
goes. How's it going, Skinner?
I can't hear you.
Oh, wait.
I'm muted. I wanted to give
There
you
we
guys an epic entrance. I was
Oh.
It was hot.
was trying
There
to, give you a little pizzazz, get everybody
Mhm.
woken up here.
Love it. Love it.
What's
Awesome.
up?
And we're
What's up,
also
guys?
joined by we've got Mustache with us. He is a frequent player at SSG. Bringing him in now. Hey, Mustache, how's it going?
Mustache.
What's up?
Awesome. Yeah, so Mustache is also interested in talking about and playing Riftbound. So let me start off. This is tough. I haven't done a show with 2 segments, so let me just rewind, pretend like we're starting this from scratch. Skinner, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Just getting off of work literally like 30 minutes ago and wanted to come hang out with the boys, talk a little bit about Riftbound. I'm super excited and I appreciate you guys having me come through.
Awesome. Thanks, Skinner. Appreciate that. And then Mustache, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. So I'm just getting off a cold. But no, I'm also excited, and I have seen Skinner around the shop before. We've never
Nice.
met, but yes, I have seen you before, and I'm excited to be on the podcast, guys.
Awesome. Great. I understand that we're getting the intimate session with Mustache with the lights off. So
Ooh.
kudos for
Master.
that.
Don't get him started. Don't get Mustache started, bro. Don't let the name
Mustache
fool you.
PM.
I know Mustache PM, Mustache.
Uh,
After
Ron
Dark.
Jeremy got it from me. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay.
Awesome. So we're gonna do today's segment very similar to how we did the Lorcana segment. I have a couple slides that I want to go over. First one is the one that I think we're all very excited about, which is SSG formally supports Riftbound competitive play.
Yes, we do.
Yep, we are excited.
We are going to go over a bit what's in store for summoners at Southside Gaming. Devin, we'll start off with you because obviously I know that you have high interest in this game and the success, and following kind of the formula that we've done with Disney Lorcana and now with One Piece as well. Riftbound being another critical pillar of Southside Gaming's success when it comes to events.
Mhm.
Talk to me about it.
First and foremost, I love Lorcana, right? That goes without saying. I love the community. I love Disney, but let's take it back to 2012 when I first picked up my first PC game. I never played anything on keyboard and mouse before. QWER was new to me. I learned something new. It's called League of Legends. All right. Now, League of Legends, for me at least, is a love-hate relationship. And when I say that, I have lost relationships because of that game, right?
I think everybody has lost at least one friend to League of
Whoa.
Legends. Yeah, I definitely have, so I am right there with you.
That it's to this day, I literally picked up. I stopped playing for multiple years, right? And I just started playing again, like a few weeks ago, and I'm addicted. I can't stop. It's like one of
Right
those
there,
games.
brother. Hey, queue up with me, bro. I
Bro,
just started playing too,
don't tell
bro.
me.
Let me know.
Listen, I had to get the PAX Sivir, PAX Jax, PAX
Oh.
Twisted Fate. I had to take the dust off of it.
They
And I
have
can't
these
play.
gotcha boxes now, because of course they
Yeah, I
do.
know. It's crazy.
And they have a Morgana skin. That's one of my favorite characters,
Mhm.
and it's insane. But you have to get you have to open I don't know how many hundreds of dollars before it shows up. It's
ridiculous.
It's crazy.
But needless to say, if there's any type of whatever they did with League itself, if they can emulate that and put it into a card game, and it will be very successful because it's amazing. And what's really interesting, because we have been playing it for the last few weeks now. And what I mean by that is we went and proxy the cards and the starter decks at least. And man, I gotta tell you, it's really cool how, and we'll get into it in a second, but how the champs, right, these characters, they kind of like have a similar play style to how they actually play in the game. So if you're a League of Legends fan, Riftbound is going to be a game for you. I'm excited, man. This game is pretty fun. But to answer your question, Stefan, what we're planning on doing is pedal to the metal the same way we do with Lorcana, and we're going to support this game as well. Now we're not going to ever put the brakes on any other game, but we are definitely going to support this game 100%. And what do I mean by that is, and I'm sure we're going to get to in a second, but we're going to have our first event on release day, and it's again, I hope I'm not talking prematurely, but we're gonna have an event to where it's gonna be a starter deck tournament, and it's gonna be great prizing, but we're definitely going to go pedal to the metal with this game.
Yeah, I think that starter deck tournament is a great start to a brand new game. I know that with Lorcana being a little bit more established, it's a little bit easier once you have a deck built and a new set comes out. You might just need a couple singles, but trying to get 50, it's going to remind me, how many cards is the deck? It's
40 cards
40. Okay, so
in the main
trying to
deck, and then there's other stuff.
Yeah, so trying to get that, obviously, I mean, maybe there's some whales out there that are willing to bling it out day one, but I think
Devin will have the master set day one.
But no slight to Devin over there, but we just want to I think having the game be accessible day one, SSG, you've seen them do it with other games and product before. They're going to have as much product as they possibly can to make sure everyone can play and enjoy this game. And I think if there's anything that Riot is doing great right now is sharing these preview decks. The reveals are amazing, right? We're starting to see some like really strong cards come out. And spoiler alert, we'll be going over a couple of those in another over under in a future area. But yeah, I'm super excited about it. I literally love playing the pre-con Jinx deck as is. I don't even know where to start making changes, but the more and more reveals I see, the more and more excited I am for the game. And I think that Riot has done a really good job with partnering with Skinner. Can you remind me again? It's another established card.
I would have to look it up, to be honest. I don't know off the top of my head.
For what?
Yeah,
Probably for the publishing, right? Or the
I think for the publishing and manufacturing, which I think
EBS games.
Yes, there you go. So which is critical because I think what can make a game just as strong and just as quickly kill it is the production chain, right?
What other games have they done? Do you guys know?
Ronald Might, he's in the chat.
Ronald got licenses right now. Okay, so they did a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Street Fighter, Attack on Titan. Is there anything that we know?
Oh,
My
apparently
Hero Academia.
they've done like a sneak peek. They're doing something for Critical Role for Heroes of Exandria.
Okay, so they've done some like lower, like more, I don't want to say independent stuff, but like kind of lower tier, games that are not on the super high, but as long as their quality is good, I mean, I don't really care.
Yeah, I think that's what's important with stuff like this, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because I think like I'm just doing a comparison really quick to what I've experienced with Lorcana, right? When the first chapter came out, product was absolutely hard to come by, and that can kill a lot of interest early on. But again, with Riot's doing like previewing the cards this early, and we're looking at anticipated release date is sometime in October. Gives enough time for people to realize, like, if I'm a singles buyer, these are the singles I'm buying day one.
Yeah.
If I'm collecting, like, they've already shown the entire product line for release. I think it's a very fair value prop. You've got something very similar to the Lorcana how to play starting set, which I absolutely love. In this case, I think you get 4 or 5 decks. Yep. I think that's a super fantastic way to start the game if you're looking to make a very minimal investment, seeing if you like the play style before you start going into starter decks and booster boxes and stuff like that. Or you can jump right into it and start getting blister packs, booster boxes, so on and so forth. And they've been very open about the development of the game. Another critical thing that I think is very important for a lot of people who are into competitive games too is the roadmap they have for the competitive circuit as well. The game hasn't even released, and they've already talked about literally the road to the Worlds event.
Yeah, it's always Star Wars did that too when they first came out, and I think that's like a real testament and almost like, I don't want to say like a kick to Lorcana, but I mean, obviously they've been studying what's going on with Lorcana, right? Like Lorcana's been in the spotlight. Other companies are watching, and they're seeing what the people want, and they're seeing all these cries for competitive circuits, for higher tier events, for reasons to travel, all this stuff. And I think Riot lends itself to that through their esports. Like, they know how to sell at arenas for video games, and they have it's their first card game physical, but they also had Legends of Runeterra, right, which is a great game. That only died because their monetization was just non-existent. So literally, I mean, they have all this experience, and I think that all lends itself to what's going to be a very highly successful game, in my opinion. I know you touched a little bit about the products, and I think that the Proving Grounds, the 4-player set, is going to be a must-have product for everybody. I would say that's the most important thing to pick up on day one, because there are cards in there that are not in the set. So whenever you have those exclusive products, those are going to be the ones everybody wants to pick up, because it's that or buy the singles, right? So 4 different champions, which is Lux, Master Yi, Annie, and Garen, will all be in the Proving Grounds. So that's the only way to get those characters. So
that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
what I think is interesting, and I don't know if a lot of people can agree on this, but one thing I think is really they're going to leverage a lot is their existence of their ecosystem that they have right now. What do I mean by that? Is like they remind me a lot like Apple, right? So You have all the it's like Apple versus Samsung. Apple come out with a their own version of a product, X amount of time later after someone else did it. Well, at some time they're doing that. That's what they're kind of doing now. If we're going to compare it to where they're seeing what the consumers want, what the players want. And what's interesting is that you have you said what game was it?
Legends of Runeterra.
Legends of Runeterra. It's almost like how Apple introduced the their Apple Watch, right? But let's just call it the phone, right? Apple couldn't introduce the significance and the value of the iPhone before showing the consumers the significance of the iPod, right?
Right.
And then so on and so forth. Same thing with this, right? So like what's cool is that Riot already has a very successful game. Okay.
And not only a game. I mean, not to cut you off, but like they're trying to become like the new Blizzard. Remember when Blizzard was like the best, like StarCraft, Warcraft, like all this stuff was like huge. And then Blizzard kind of started falling out, like some people stopped playing their games. They had a whole crisis of allegations and stuff. And I feel like Riot has really kind of used that to push themselves up, because think about it. Now we have all these different Riot games. Valorant is from Riot. League of Legends is from Riot. They have a bunch of little independent games. We have Legends of Runeterra. We also have Arcane, right? Which now they're starting to get people that don't even play games. They're bringing them into the mix. So they, like you said, the ecosystem that they're creating is just like, it's a living world, with all this different lore and all this background. And I think that it's only up for Riot, honestly. I think more people are getting into the characters from League of Legends, and I think this is going to be a really good exposure to a lot of people that maybe have never played the video game. So
I agree. And plus the art, if you see the quality of the cards too, right? Like I'm looking at their cards right now, and I haven't physically held them, but man, they just look, they obviously know what they're doing. Right,
super nice. Yeah, I want to see the foiling and stuff when they show that. It's gonna be nuts.
It's gonna be like I have to imagine it's gonna be textured like One Piece.
I hope so.
Right? Oh man, dude, like these cards are nice. And I'm sure we're gonna talk about the gameplay too. But man, when the gameplay is not bad either. It's good, right? So
that helps when the game doesn't suck.
Yeah.
and I think that's actually a good segue. Actually, I wanted to get Mustache's opinion. Prior to the show starting, he did mention that he tried the game for the first time. Was it yesterday or today?
I've been playing since yesterday.
Yesterday. Okay. So
as for the pro circuit,
what, Devin? What's the matter?
Mustache made up his own rules.
What? Bro. No, I enforced them to a point.
Let me tell you something. Skinner is an amazing coach or somebody to teach the game, because he's actually teaching you the game. Mustache is gonna leverage his knowledge and your kind of like ignorance when you play, just so he can win and like give you that ha moment. I beat you. Freaking Mustache.
With Mustache is like a dub's a dub, man.
Yeah, he does.
A win's a win.
Yeah. All right, but so Mustache, tell me your thoughts. So let's give some context a little bit. So this isn't Mustache's first TCG. I understand that you've previously played One Piece. So currently playing One Piece. So what are your thoughts based on your history of One Piece and trying out Riftbound? Give me your thoughts.
So I think Riftbound is doing a lot of good things and a lot of things right. Comparing it to One Piece, there aren't many similarities. Obviously, like the biggest similarity is the Dawn mechanic, which is the rune mechanic.
Yep. Which I think is a great mechanic.
Yeah, I think that is the best way. I think Magix is horrible, because
that's where I come
putting
from.
your land in your deck and then searching for a land and never getting it, or only getting land, bro.
Yeah.
But I think Runeterra has taken many different card games and taken the best out of it. Like for example, taking Marvel Snap, where you have the locations and you put them in the random, so you don't always have the same. I can spawn a recruit every time I take this or whatever. It takes Yu-Gi-Oh's trap cards. It takes Lorcana's winning system. It takes One Piece's Dawn management. I think they've definitely done their homework, and they are going to excel. I genuinely believe, and I know a lot of people are going to hate me, and they're not going to agree with me, but Riftbound is going to overtake One Piece, Pokemon, Magic, and it is going to blow up the competitive scene.
So those are some choice words, sir, for the first show that you have on here. So you would be very either cheered
I
on
don't-
or
I don't
very
hate
booed
it.
against
They don't
I
call
don't
him
hate it.
mustache for no reason, you know.
I don't hate it.
So that
It's
but you
bad.
know, I think it has all the pieces in the right spot, and I don't want to get you know I'm just going to remain objective for the sake of being objective, but you know the game is not out yet, right? But there are a lot of promises, right, of this experience, and I think it's something that we all want, especially coming from some of our other games, and you know whether we have official competitive events to go to or stores like SSG that continue to host big events. But I think if you are in a game and you're not experiencing the joy that you once did once you started, whether it's due to the lack of a competitive circuit, maybe you just getting bored of the game, I think that is where Riftbound will capitalize the most. Is just you know it's like another infusion into the competitive trading card game market, right? And with a solid IP, right? I will say that this is just going to be just as it's a strong pillar for SSG's competitive circuit for Riftbound. I will say if that this is a home run, it's just another strong pillar. We could see the Blizzard 2.0 happen at Riot. You
I
know,
really do believe that. I really believe that they, and supposedly they're working on an MMO as well. Like there's a bunch of stuff still
Yeah.
happening. They have a fighting game that's coming out. Like they're trying to hit in every department, right? They're just literally they want a fighting game, an MMO, a MOBA, a team battler.
Yeah.
Like they want to do it all, and I appreciate that. TFT is also huge for those of you who are auto battler. There you go, mustache nose.
Yeah.
There's people who are hardcore into TFT that don't play League; they only play TFT. So I think that they really have their grips in a lot of different areas, and I think there's no reason why they wouldn't be successful because they literally are. They're popular in everything else they do, and they're putting out quality content. I mean, if you haven't seen Arcane, like, what are you doing? Like, the show is fantastic, a state of the art animation and great storytelling, awesome characters. Even so that people were actually going to play League of Legends after they watched it, and then were disappointed when they got to League of Legends and realized
100%.
how
Bro,
toxic it is because they were
not
like,
even
"Oh,
toxic, the skill cap, bro. Like in order to play that game, right? If you've never played mouse and keyboard before, it's very discouraging,
big time."
right? That's the only thing I'll say. But once you get past that part, the game, in my opinion, everyone's, I may get hate for this. I think it's literally the best online game ever created. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not a
Very
big
skill
WoW guy.
based.
I'm not a big WoW guy. I don't even think you can compare the two. But outside of that, bro, the game's been out since what, 2009? We established that today, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you have a player, like I'm gonna say myself, that's been, and I'm a grown adult now, but when it first came out, I was in when I started playing, was in high school, or freshman year of college. I played on and off. I stopped playing the game for years. I pick it up one time and I'm addicted again. And they got me for X amount of money for all these, all the content you could buy.
You opened up the shop,
geniuses.
all the splash arts and all the.
Bro, the
that's another
marketing
thing I wanted to talk
geniuses,
about is the
bro.
art. I know that Lorcana kind of gets props for having amazing art, and I know One Piece also has really awesome art. So a lot of games do have good art, but I love that they're using. Number one, the art from Runeterra, which they might as well because they have all the art done in commission. So why wouldn't you just reuse it?
Yeah.
And number two, all these splash arts. Like if you look through the shop on League of Legends, like they are so cool. Like sometimes the skin doesn't look as good as the splash art, but the splash art looks like insane, right? So I love that they're using those splash arts for like alt arts and stuff in the set, which I think are going to make them really highly desirable. Like if they release a character that has your favorite skin and it's like a super rare and you're like, oh my God, I got to have it. So I think there's going to be a lot of cool ways to implement things that are in the game and make it exciting for players trying to collect the cards as well.
Can I add to that really quick? What you just said?
Yeah.
That's why I feel like this game is going to be insane, because you look at something like Lorcana, right? Okay. Now let's think about this, because we always talk about this, Stefan and me, Stefan and Kylie, right? If someone like like for me, I love going high rarity of the deck, right? Now in Lorcana, which I don't understand why sometimes they do this, where they'll get a card that's an enchanted, let's just say the Tomato, right? Tamato comes enchanted, but also comes in foil, right? And if somebody wants to alter, the high rarity of their deck, they're gonna get the enchanted Tamato, and it stops there. Well, what's interesting about what they could do with Riftbound is they can do the same thing with enchanted, but they can have it with all the different skins, right? That's crazy. And now it's capturing somebody that loves one to get an enchanted version of it, right? And let's just call it, let's say Yasuo, right? You get Spirit Blossom Yasuo, you get Dawnbringer Yasuo, you could get
You already know the names. Look at you,
Project Yasuo.
Look
Bro,
at this
like
guy.
not only am I a Yasuo guy, but now you're telling me I could get every skin. So now when you see an enchanted, right, or whatever they're gonna call whatever they call it, bro, like now you could capture a market of like Yasuo players, but not just Yasuo players. Now it's a niche market within, because you have somebody like diehard Project fan, diehard Spirit Blossom. It's just so cool, bro. Like they could do a lot of cool things.
I
didn't mean to cut you off, Mustache. Just real quick, they actually did release like almost every champion has an alt art with a different skin already.
So dope.
They call them the outnumbered, I think is, or overnumbered. Overnumbered. Because the set goes a certain amount, and then once everything after that number is overnumbered. And those are all the alt arts and all the like super hard to get shit. So that, or excuse, I don't know if we could say that here, my bad. But all the we're demonetized. But yeah, super excited. I didn't mean to cut you off, Mustache. Go for it.
No, I didn't even think about that, Devin. Because when nostalgia, let me see if I hit you guys. When Spearguard Udyr first came out, and I got that legendary, the ultimate skin, and I saw him with the phoenix, the bear, everything.
Mm-hmm.
If they make an enchanted, like the leader of Udyr, and then they make Spearguard Udyr,
his champion is nuts.
Have
you read the champion?
Well, let's hold off on that because we're going to go over some of those cards.
Get me excited.
Real quick, you do that. Let me just explain why I say they're marketing geniuses. You ready? How many? I don't know how many champs there are in
150 plus.
150 plus. Okay, now think of this. Literally, they come out with an ultimate skin, and immediately their consumers like, bro, I want to play this champion. I've been playing this game for like 10 years, and I still never played this champion. Now, because of this skin, I'm gonna go play this champion. And then you start, bro, and the amount of like to be able to master a champ is like, it takes forever. But then you go on YouTube, you have people that have that niche, Udyr. Like who is it? Best, it was, what was it? Best Udyr NA? That's
Trick 2G.
Trick 2G, right? You have somebody that just like one TP's Udyr, and now you can go and watch their video. Like people actually create a brand for themselves by that one champion. It's crazy, bro. It's so cool. It's like Lorcana, red blue, like Hector, like he's a red blue 1 TP. Shout out to Hector. Same thing, bro. Like that's how it is with League, and it's, I don't know, like I said, marketing geniuses, bro.
By the way, I just googled it, and it's 171 characters they have already. That's a lot. That's a lot of characters. A lot of possibilities for the future. And that's just characters with basic skins, and they could always do, like you said, different skins and
That's awesome. Hey, I do have a semi-random question for Mustache.
Sure.
Mustache, what are you doing next Tuesday?
Whoa.
Oh, sweet. Ooh.
Working at SSG, one of the greatest card stores, if not the greatest card store in Florida.
Okay. Will you be there at 12?
Yeah.
Awesome. You want to know why I asked?
Perhaps.
Because Skinner's also going to be there at 12. And we're going to be hosting a learn to play, right? No investment necessary. We will have the decks printed out,
$100 money
ready to play, and we will be it's undecided whether we will be streaming it or recording it, only because I want to make sure that we can turn that content into a proper learn to play video in the future. So I will work on the logistics behind the scenes for that. Regardless, there will be content coming out. If you'd like to come and play, please reach out to either Skinner or myself. Slots are limited, obviously, because it will be a mainly one-on-ones, because that's the space we have for the recording area. But if you're interested in learning how to play Riftbound, watching, hanging out for the vibes, getting an understanding of this game, and truly seeing if it's something that you're interested in, because this will most likely be the first of many learn to plays. We want to make sure that the community is prepared for the game once it launches in October and confident enough to come will be a premiere event with dates announced in the future. We just need to get with Justin to make sure that the schedule's open, and we'll make sure that we'll get a date out for those of you that are interested in that starter deck tournament. But definitely join us prior for the Learn to Play session next Tuesday.
Yeah, and the game comes out in October, guys. So like, come get a little taste, right? Come check it out. You know, it's going to be a while before we get to actually play the game. So if you want to see what it's all about, see if it's worth you following the previews that are going on right now, get you a little bit excited, come play with us. And I think you're going to really be surprised with how great the game is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to make sure that Skinner is not playing Victor, because if he is, it's not a fun time.
Victor Main, and I'm playing Leona too. So
Okay. Well, you guys never experienced mustaches.
Okay, bro. Here we go again.
here we go.
Volley, apparently, Volley's passive is that you can make up rules while you play.
Oh, nice.
wow.
He's mad about
Outside of that-
Tryndamere. He's mad about Tryndamere's
outside of that-
thing.
Outside of that character, Dave, I'm just kidding. You actually piloted very well. Is
Thank you.
insane. Some of these
Yeah.
chants are crazy, bro. I'm excited.
I've been seeing some guys play with some of the previews that have already come out, because like we're just playing with the trial decks, but some people have printed like all the stuff that's been previewed, and supposedly Volibear is very strong from what I'm
Volley's
hearing.
crazy, right? Like,
He's all right. He's all right.
Do you think that the game is in a position right now where they can still make changes? Like, let's say if the card is too overtuned, do you think it's too late? Do you think these cards are already headed to the printing press?
I do. They had the summit. They let the players at the summit play with the whole card pool. They had the cards already there for them to build decks and play and get a feel for the game. And the cards before, if you look back, they were really ugly, just for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Like they were white bordered and the framing looked bad, and they just had like the art just kind of thrown on there. It wasn't like implemented into the UI of the card. You know, it just looked ugly. And they took that feedback. They say they took it. Some people have theories that they did it just to get like, you know, attention. Like, oh, look, we did something. But I don't know. I don't know the truth. But they came back.
Is it the Sonic the Hedgehog thing? All
Yeah,
over again?
exactly. Like that kind of conspiracy theory that they did it for press. But they definitely, as Devin said earlier, they've improved the cards and they look beautiful now.
calculated. bro.
Yeah, they killed it. So
I can't wait to see him in person. I
you and me
can't wait.
both. You and me both.
So unfortunately, Devin, we won't be able to see them in person just yet, but we
Mhm.
can actually take a gander at
Let's
them
do
right
it.
now, because I wanted to also do another over under again. So we're gonna take a look at some of the champion units that have been publicly shown. So give me a moment. I don't have the scene set up, but we'll do it live. I'm gonna do a screen share really quick. I've got all the champion units picked up already. We'll pop in a couple of them and we will, get some thoughts. So
Can I get a question to Skinner before we start?
go ahead? Yeah, by all means, while I'm working on this.
So I have a question. It's a ruling question because Sean swears I cheated him out of some wins. When you use Jinx's spell, Super Mega Death Rocket, on Volibear, for example, the 10-9 drop to be exact, if you target the unit and hit it, after the spell is finished, there
Yes.
are no reactions. Does the
Correct.
Volibear go back up to 9, or does it stay at 4 HP for the rest of the turn?
Stays at 4 HP till the end of combat.
Oh, that's buns. All right, cool.
See, this is what I mean, guys. Must not to play you and make up the rules on his own, but the conviction is crazy. Yes, this is what it does. I know this is what it does. And you just win games that way. Gets the W0.
Yeah, damage. So you can just like there's a combo. There's a card called Bullet Time that's like super insane, where you can recycle as many runes as you want and deal that much damage to every character. And there's a combo because there's a new card called Warwick, which we may or may not look at in a moment. And when Warwick moves into a location, he kills everything that has damage. So the only way that would work is if the damage stayed into the combat. You understand? So
Yeah.
that's how it
Well,
works.
there's Tryndamere. There's your favorite card, Devin.
I hate playing against Tryndamere in League.
What we'll do is we'll hop over a few. So Devin, call out a champion that comes to mind that either you played with already, that you see on the screen that you want to take a look at.
Jinx.
Ah, man, you stole mine.
Okay, I'll go somewhere else.
Okay.
I'll go somewhere else.
All right, I'll let you do. Vi.
Bye. That's another one.
Okay, I'll get someone
Oh,
else.
the two from Arcade. Yeah, great.
I'll do Trinamere then.
Trin, okay.
Actually, no, let's do Yas. Let's do Trinamere. Actually, no, do Trinamere. I'm sorry, guys.
Trinamere?
Sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Do
So
Trinamere.
we're gonna take a look at Trinamere for a second.
Mhm.
So just for some context, Skinner, because you have the most familiarity here, let's go over some of the critical card components, so that way we have some context into judging whether this card is going to be overrated or underutilized.
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to. So, as you may or may not know, you get 2 of your resources per turn, right? So, that's something you need to look at when you're evaluating, because 7 might look like a lot when you're playing most card games. Like if I think of a 7 drop, I'm thinking, oh God, I got to play this guy on turn 7. This game is you have to kind of reprogram your brain, right? Because this is not a 7 drop. It's actually a 3 drop if you go second, right? Because you have the 3 on the first turn and then 4 and 4, or it's going to be 2 and 2, which gets you the 7. And then so it's not so hard to accomplish. 8 is a huge number in this game. I think that it's very, very thick. A lot of units are 4s and 3s, and then you have some 6s and stuff. But 8 is like, that's really big.
Yeah,
So
which is their might, right?
that's their might, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's their might. And then it has a two rune cost of the red runes. So you can see underneath the 7, there are 2 reds that are required there. That is a little steep. You're pretty much getting rid of your 2 your 2 resources for that turn, right? But I think it's a good trade-off. I mean, you have this 8 powered like beast of a champion in play. And then as far as his ability, when I conquer after an attack, if you assign 5 or more excess damage to enemy units, you score a point.
Can you
So,
explain
yes.
right now, but because I know you're about to, I don't mean to cut you off. Explain how unique that extra point is.
Sure. Yeah,
Just-
there's a few characters that kind of break the rules, right? There's an Ari that's out that says if she's holding at the beginning of the turn, you gain an extra point. So that's pretty crazy. You have Tryndamere here, where essentially if you trample, so like if your opponent might have like 3 dudes, but you could like pour all 8 damage into one dude just to like overkill it and then get that point, which is nice. It really pressures the board. So even if you don't conquer, you could still sneak in that point, right? You can still get that point out of the combat, which is really nice. I think this card is really cool. I don't know the format or anything yet, obviously, because we don't have all the cards. So it's hard to know, like, is it too fast? Is it too slow? Is it relevant? It doesn't come in readied, which means, it does have to sit a turn, which, is not so bad, but
what's interesting about it is this, right? Because I know we haven't really explained the game rules, right, in order to win, but what's interesting is that you could cheat out that 1 point while you're at 7, because the objective is to get to 8 points, right? Is it points or 8?
8 points, yeah.
Okay.
I think
It
it's
does get to 8 points, and once you get to 7, right, in order to get to the next point, there are some stipulations that has to occur. If I'm even saying those words right, but
you are.
Very cool. Stipulations have to occur, right? And we'll get to that in a second. However, this kind of cheats that, right? Because once you get to 7, you would think, oh, I'm about to have game, but not necessarily. It's getting to 7 and then being able to bridge that gap to win isn't as easy as you would think, but this cheats it. And if you have to play around this card. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
Right. It's a bomb for sure. Yeah. It's like definitely could take over the game late game. What's cool about this game also is it has control decks, it has aggro decks, it has mid-range. So it still fills like those TCG roles, right? Like those kind of deck styles. I've seen some people play on YouTube on Tabletop Simulator playing like Misfortune aggro, and like it's a crazy deck. Like you play her straight to a location because like that's her ability. You could play her to any location, even if it's like as long as it's unoccupied. And then there's dudes that untap her, so like you can like play a dude that untaps her, untap her. She has ganking, so she goes to the next location. So like you're just doing like this like spam of actions in the very beginning of the game, which is like an aggro play style. And then you have decks like Victor or stuff like that where you're just trying to sit there and kind of grind people out. So I do like that they have different play styles. Yeah, it's been really cool.
All right. So are we is this an overrated card, underrated card? Do you think it sits just fine with the stats?
I mean, it depends how it's rated, right? I mean, I don't know if it's over or under depending on how people are rating it. I think it's think it's a solid card. I mean, I would expect it to see play. Again, I'm making this prediction with limited knowledge, obviously, but
That's the fun part.
but
Your
yeah,
opinion might change next week.
but it does seem strong. It does seem like it's pretty strong. So we shall see.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're playing against somebody who doesn't know how to properly not only capture but head back to the battlefield, because I think that's the like as we're learning, we thought leaving characters at a battleground was beneficial, and it is to a point. However, when you're playing a deck that includes characters like Jinx,
Mhm.
that has a better benefit with the Salt 2 when you are the attacker, it might be worth going back and just it being able to be the one that initiates a showdown rather than defending. And I've learned that over time playing against you is just realizing like, sure, I can get some strong some early point aggression, which is traditionally how the deck works. But once you get Volibear out, like, and his stuff and his supporting characters too, it's almost impossible to overcome. So
Can I add to that really quick what you just said?
Sure.
What's really interesting is that I think, which people may not see it like this, but my perspective is this, right? Because I play the game, and I know it's not a card game, right? But because I play the game and I understand the mechanics during playing that game, like what you just said was perfect. Because as I start playing this game more, I realized today that when I was playing Mustache, is that not staying at that particular what is it battlefield, and you could retreat essentially, right? Or you could I guess go back to base. That is exactly what you do in League. You want to go back to base and buy items,
very
right?
flavorful.
But not even that. Jinx in the game, if for any of you guys don't know, her passive where she kills a unit, she gains a little speed boost, right? So, and on top of that, she hits hard, right? And fast, depending on your Q. But what I'm saying is that what you just said is her whole intent is you want to go and deal damage, and after you get that speed boost, you could either use a speed boost to keep attacking someone else, or you could just retreat, right? It's just flank. It's so cool, right? So understanding the kit that they have in the real game, you could kind of like use that and visualize, okay, well, maybe this mechanic is good to actually not stay at the battlefield or overstay, right? Because Mustache, you already know when you play, and even Skinner, do you guys play League at all? I'm sorry, should I ask?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Stefan, have you ever played League?
I have, yeah. It's been a while since I played.
Okay, so you understand where people overstay in lane or overstay in drag or overstay in Baron when they shouldn't have. That can be very detrimental. Same thing with Battlefield, right? If you overstay, right, or overextend, it's a problem in the game, and it will punish you.
Plus, there's a lot of cards also. Like obviously, I learned this as I continue to learn the game. That target things that are at battlefields, right? So it might say deal 5 damage to a character at a battlefield, right? So once you start learning what to play around, there's that strategy of like, oh, I'm going to move my guy out because I know he could have that card that targets my guy in the battlefield. Like you start, doing the meta thing where you're like, okay, he could play this. Let me play that. Let me play this. Let me move this guy out. And that's what starts creating that dance, right? That, knowing what your opponent could do and moving your guys out. And I think that's really a unique what method of winning the game is conquering these battlefields and doing these things like that. So I think we lost Stefan here, but we could talk about League. It's fine. We're good.
As Stefan comes back, right? Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I had child aggro.
Oh, it's all good. But yeah, saying what you're saying is absolutely true. Like it's actually kind of a shame. Like people that don't play League might not realize how cool it is that these characters do what they do in the game.
Yeah.
Like Vayne, for example, on the screen, she returns to your hand and you could replay her, and it's kind of like when she rolls and invisible. So look, so she has assault, and if an opponent controls a battlefield, I enter ready. When I conquer, you may pay 1 to bounce me to my hand.
That's cool, bro.
So you can so she conquers and then she bounces and then she comes back down, but she's ready. So
tumble, bro.
Yeah, it's like a tumble, bro. It's so cool. It's so cool.
I will say from what I remember from the Champions, I don't remember the last one that came out before I stopped playing heavily, but I will say the characters that I do remember, their cards are just very flavorful to what they actually do in the game. Like
Yeah.
Darius, it's like this is the Darius dunk, right?
Yep. He just
That's
keeps
cool,
reading.
bro.
He just keeps dunking.
Yeah.
What does Draven do? I haven't even seen all these cards, man.
Oh, you gotta get on that, brother.
Yeah,
Oh,
we gotta
my
share the
increase in
website. So
points,
let
that's
me
crazy.
That's so
Yeah.
Draven, dude.
That's
He
so
he's got
Draven, bro.
the spotlight. The you gotta get the
anyone is
trophies.
interested here.
No, yeah.
I'll,
I've been looking at it because I saw the URL. There are some champions in here that is going to make me throw my deck.
Yeah, yeah. There's some cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, even so, like they have their splash art, like Ari splash art. Then you got the Sona splash art,
Yep, yep.
right?
And some of Wild Rift, because like not only does League of Legends exist, but there's a mobile League of Legends called Wild Rift, which is actually kind of makes me jealous sometimes because the skins in Wild Rift sometimes are better than the ones in the computer, and I'm like, what the hell, dude? Bring that to the computer. But there's also splash arts from there. Like if you click on, for example, the Yasuo,
Yeah.
It'll say at the very bottom like Wild Rift or wherever it's from. Oh no, that one has an actual artist, but some of them will say like Wild Rift splash art or something like
Yeah,
that,
that's cool.
which is really cool.
Bro,
Yeah.
bro,
This guy's nuts too.
Tarek is absolutely insane. Did you go read that card? Did you guys read Tarek?
Tarek is awesome. Yeah.
Tarek is stacked. I mean, these are cool.
If you want to talk about busted, Echo recurrent. When
Yep.
he dies,
He resets time, bro. It goes back in time.
that is nuts. Play that in Victor, and I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, it's really cool.
You may pay additional cost of the Wow, bro.
He recycles and untaps everything. So he's
Or
like,
you can literally play him, clear something, boom, get everything back. That's crazy, bro.
Yep.
This is these games will be fun, bro. I can't wait. What is
it's
this
gonna be
gonna do?
cool.
I'm sure it's something fun.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this is gonna be, for those of us that have come from Lorcana, there's going to be a lot more technical play in this game.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
now we do have actions and reactions, so there is passing priority.
I love
You
that.
do have the ability to play cards on an opponent's turn, so
I
that is
miss
going to be
playing
a
with my
new
opponent.
concept. What's that?
I miss playing with my opponents. I miss interact. I've been playing Lorcana for so long, and I love Lorcana. Don't get me wrong, but like I miss having responses, and I miss being able to be like, "Oh, you did that well. I'm going to do this and respond." You know, like I miss that, and I'm so glad this game has that.
Can I give some like word predictions what I think is gonna happen?
Of course.
Okay. So I think they're gonna have in the beginning, it's gonna be crazy. I think you're gonna have players, right? Just like for every other card game, you're gonna have players from other card games come. So you're gonna have One Piece players are definitely gonna come to this game, right? Because of the Dawn mechanic. Then you have Lorcana players because everyone in the Lorcana community is talking about it. Okay. Then what's gonna happen, and obviously coming from other card games as well, what's gonna happen is this: because of the interactions of this game, and because, in my opinion, it shares qualities from every other game, right? You have One Piece mechanics, Lorcana mechanics, Yu-Gi-Oh mechanics, as Mustache was saying earlier, and then you have some Magic components as well. It's because there's so much going on. I think a lot of One Piece players, that's their first TCG. A lot of Lorcana players, their first TCG. And if they never experienced any from everything else, it cannot, not that it could be overwhelming, but it's the same concept as me never playing computer games in the beginning. That skill gap, bro, like playing with just a keyboard and mouse, bro, like it's gonna be not overwhelming, but it's gonna reflect, it's gonna show, I think. So I think it's not that's gonna have a fall off, but you're gonna have a lot of players saying like, wow, this is just like a lot, when it's really not, because if you have the experience of all these other games, you can understand. But I think that's what's, in my opinion, that's what's gonna happen.
Which
sure.
I want to add to that. I have played a bunch of trading card games, and this game is definitely difficult to understand, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I have
It seems simple. It's deceptive. Like it looks like, oh, you just conquer and you get a point. Okay, that's simple, but it's not.
So, for example, if we can find Misfortune, the champion unit, for example.
By the way, hold
that's
on.
the
Before
one
we
that I
do
think
that, can
of.
you click on Odir so that Mustache can read that?
Oh no, I already saw it.
Oh, you already read it? Yeah,
Yeah,
that
he's
card,
the
card
nuts.
is
Do we have that card created, or is that's not a starter deck, right?
No,
No, that's in set one.
That's why we didn't make this. We didn't print this card,
the card is
This
nuts.
I can start printing set one stuff.
bro. This card's insane.
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
I think
You
that
told-
Piltover archive actually lets you. It has like a proxy
Does it?
something. I think it lets
Oh.
you. Yeah,
Where were you getting it from earlier?
I had a Google file that was shared.
Yeah,
through the
same.
Discord.
These cards. But dude, actually, we should. I don't know if you guys want to do this, but to prep for Tuesday, we could print every card if you guys want.
I'm down.
Yeah,
That would be. I can go run to home Office Depot. Yeah.
They reveal cards Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So as soon as they reveal Monday, maybe you want to.
We have tomorrow and Monday too. Those will be the last 2 days.
Oh
Um,
my god, this
Still
But
have
the
some issues.
misfortune at the left, the
Yeah, go
captain,
ahead.
the
Sorry
orange
about that.
one, no worries. So I think the wording isn't obvious enough because it says accelerate. You may pay 1 and then the body rune. To
Mhm.
me, I thought it's just pay 1 body rune to get her
No.
active, but apparently I have
Yes,
to pay 1 and then recycle a body rune.
correct.
I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
think
it's
that is
deceptive.
difficult to understand.
Yeah, in Magic, it makes it's like different.
Yeah.
Like you're paying a red and a 1, right? But like you're just tapping them. So like it kind of looks like that, but it's not clear whether it's one
Yeah.
of this resource or 1 and this resource. But it actually is 1 and this resource.
Yeah.
But the good thing is the resource can be the same one you paid 1 with, right? So you could just like tap 1, recycle that same 1, and
But
it's not so
That's
bad.
how Magic is too, though, right? Let's say like pay 1 and then pay 1 of any color plus the land of that choice, right? So like
Right.
yeah.
But you wouldn't recycle it. That's
Yeah, but
the only
that's
difference.
tapping.
Yeah,
It's
we're
not-
like-
yeah.
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, well,
Yeah, the
that's
newer
their
concept.
mechanic. Yeah, that's what.
But
I
Do
meant.
they have that in any other games that you guys are more familiar with? This is the first time I've ever experienced a game that makes you
Oh,
destroy your own resources.
I've
well,
never seen anything like
One
it.
Piece.
Maybe
One
Pokemon.
Piece
Yeah,
doesn't.
One Piece does
Pokemon
send
does
on
too.
back. Yeah.
Pokemon does, where you don't
Um,
where you put you discard an energy, right?
Which, since,
Okay.
since we're talking about resources, who's happy that Volibear doesn't have one of those gears that lets you tap for resources? Because it's such
Yeah.
a big
Oh,
ramp.
they
deck.
absolutely, he does not need that.
Yeah,
You
because
should- you
imagine
should
if
be
like
punished for playing this card.
There is a red one, a red seal.
it's just not in the starter deck. I could put it in there just to be an app.
It's
Sure.
not in his
Sure.
deck, but I think it is in one of the starters.
I think it's in Jinx. Yeah.
That's probably where it's at. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No.
they do. He does have
No,
one.
the Volibear doesn't need any runes. We can or seals.
The seals are cool because the seals, for those of you who don't know, like they're also not max rarity because I guess there's alt arts, but like
Mhm.
they're high rarity because they are essentially, I would say, almost staples depending on the build, but they allow you to produce that,
Gear, they're
that
gears.
rune, which really
That's
makes a
what-
huge
oh, I
difference.
see these
Yeah,
other
there you
ones.
go. Yeah, so these are awesome. They're epic rarity, but they allow you to produce that resource without having to recycle. So in this game, recycling essentially means sending it back to the bottom of its pile of its deck. So you lose that. So like when you're recycling your energy or your lands or however you want to think about it, your resources, you're paying for stuff, but you're setting yourself back, right? So you're like you're losing costs. So like if you have more expensive cards in your hand, you don't want to be recycling a bunch because you can't get to them. And this gets around that. This allows you to pay it just by tapping it, which is really, really good.
And I think it like I just noticed this. I could be wrong, but is this like the currency of all the like Shurima, Noxus,
believe so.
Bilgewater?
I would have to do some lore digging, but it does seem to be that.
What,
Yeah.
what does all these do?
Demacia.
I know that. What does Zanya's do? I want to see Zanya's. Hide for
What?
yeah, the next time for you. Bro, this is exactly what Zanya's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah. Isn't that
Oh,
cool?
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta catch up and print out some of these cards because I only have the preview decks.
Yeah. Same.
I have some homework this weekend besides watching Worlds. But I definitely want to get some extra cards ready so because I think that's the beauty about it, and I like that the fact that the reveals are happening 3 days a week because it gives you time to like play and test out stuff. And I know that nothing is set in stone. We might find out that Jinx is not as powerful as we want her to be, but
Dude, that card could be good, bro.
having the ability to play with as many of the cards and give proper time for each one, I think is super critical because sometimes in other games, like, once your deck is established and you're like, oh, I'll try out these like 8 cards from the new set, that's it. And you're missing out on, some potential new meta decks because you're in comfort. So like, I don't think we'll ever get this experience again, right? Where like the game's not even out and the way that it's being previewed and stuff like that, I think like A+. Right.
So how did the Ravensburger do it, right? Because like I wish I got into the game like in this early stage, right? And did you guys when did you guys get into Lorcana?
Set one.
Yeah,
So-
I got into set 1. I actually bought my starter decks day of release haphazardly. I had no intention on playing Lorcana, and I saw that it was released and I was like, oh, I'll try this out with my wife. So I bought 2 starter decks and the rest is history.
Yeah.
Quickly
but,
pull up Shen, by the way. I want to.
Who?
Oh,
Shen, dude. Pull up Shen, dude.
Spirit's Refuge. That's his weapon, no?
Yeah. Have you seen what Shen does, Mustache?
Nope.
Oh boy. Do you know what he does in the game?
Yeah.
All right.
Must respect the stash, bro.
Scroll down a bit.
Heimer.
all the way at the bottom.
He's yellow.
He's yellow.
There he is, bottom right.
Heimer.
There he is.
Yeah, click that guy.
That's
Click that
probably
bad boy.
Play any- Oh, so it's his ultimate. All right, cool.
Anytime you remember okay, dude,
He's an instant speed.
dude.
And he has shield too, and he has tank, so you have to hit him first.
Oh my god, bro! Just like
Wait, I
take
can
all
play him
my
in volley?
time and
Oh,
money
no, you
now.
He just flies in, dude, from out of nowhere from the top rope.
Yo,
Just an elbow
actually
drop,
can't wait
Randy
to see
Savage.
every one of these games. Like I can't wait till not me personally, but like talking about the game itself when on Tuesday, because the game is so cool. It's just different.
Yeah, it's really fun and it's very refreshing. And I think it
Refreshing.
came
That's
out.
the best word you can use is refreshing. It's just-
It came out like if there was any opportunity for this card game to be successful, it was the moment that they are doing it right now.
Yeah.
And again, like this is no shade to any other existing card game right now, but I think it's safe to say that some card games are comfortable, right? And whether it's through their organized play or the designing cards, when a new competitor comes in, right? And this is the same with business in general, right? Like the more competition there is, typically the more innovation there is.
Yeah.
And the customer tends to win in those scenarios because you have plenty of options to decide what you want to play or what you want to do.
Yeah.
I for one think competition is great.
Could I actually elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
We're experiencing it now. All right. First and foremost, when I feel like when we got into the space, I'm gonna actually relate to like Southside for a second, right? When we got into this space, I personally feel like that's exactly how it was. There's a lot of these stores, not just in the area, but in general. I don't want to say complacent because I don't want to talk bad about the other stores. That's not what I'm saying. But I
don't think complacent is a bad term. I think it's a great it's something to point out because it comes from a place of comfort.
Yeah. It's so hard not to name drop because I don't want to name drop, but it's initially when we started doing our bigger like premiere events, right? There was a time where if anyone else was doing it as well, I'll personally say I felt some type of way about it, right? And it's only because we wanted to stay at the tippy top and try to be more influential, right? Because we were just new in the space. But then after time, it's actually interesting that I love it because one, it gives us the ability to go out and experience bigger other events as well, right? And I'm not just I guess you could talk about Lorcana because Lorcana is what we are very passionate about. But being able to go to like the CC, the CCSs of the world, even though they were there before us, or even some of PPG circuit, right? But then you start seeing how they evolve. I start seeing people on camera now talking about the game, right? Because prior it wasn't like that. They weren't doing it. A lot of these other people weren't, these companies, their stores weren't doing before, and now they are. But I think it's so good for the game, right? And I think that as a store, it evolves from not even just competition anymore. I don't even think that you could competition because competition would mean that we would have to compete with those stores if we were playing or trying to host the event the same day, right?
Yeah.
Then I can understand, okay, that's competition. I want people coming to our store before, but no. Now it's different, right? It's different because we want, like, I love seeing other stores do this now because it gives us the opportunity to go to those stores and play in their events as well. And because we're all learning from one another, right? Or, everyone is very talented. All these other shops, I love it because it's very talented and it allows us to be more innovative as well. Like, for example, when we went to CCS, look at their production, right? And, and in the way they handle things and the way they did their interviews, that's amazing. And guess what? I'll be the first one to say it. It gave us the idea, the innovation to be like, okay, we want to, it gives us an idea to where we should do the same, similar, right? And not where we're stealing ideas from anybody, but it's what the players want, right? And I don't know, in everything that some of the stuff we do, I hope that we can be influential to other stores as well, so they can do the same thing. And that's what these card games are doing. To go back to like the whole Riftbound and not go on this tangent. but Riftbound took a lot of the cool ideas from other card games and made it their own. And ideally, we don't want to take the players away from that because we want all these card games to keep innovating, right? So I don't know. That's my take on it. But it's cool that you're starting to see all these other stores kind of like innovating and I don't want to. I guess you could say stepping up. I'm gonna stop being so soft. Stepping up and actually working now, right? Like,
Yeah.
so
they're not the only gig in town anymore. That's how
Yeah.
it is,
yeah. Just like us, I don't think we're the only gig in town anymore. I think a lot
No,
of people are
definitely, but
stepping
that's
up and
good.
doing-
Competition is good.
Yeah. Oh, I
Competition is
love it.
healthy.
It's healthy.
You know, Samsung and Apple, Google, like all these
Yeah.
companies, they compete, and I think it ends up creating a better product for everybody. So,
Yeah.
100% on board with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's super awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, we're wrapping up the show, but before we do, I'm gonna throw in a curveball really quick before we go into the
Oh
topic.
man, we didn't do any. We only got one over and under in. I'm sorry. We got
know,
tangent. We went on a tangent.
You know what that means? That just means that we need to have more shows now, and maybe we'll have to segment out the Lorcana episode.
Yeah, we just have so much to
Riftbound.
say.
Yeah, 'cause there's so many there's a lot to talk about.
For sure.
But I will say that, and I'll bring the screen up too. Has your main champion from the game been created as a card? And if it hasn't, what type of card would you expect it to play as?
Ooh.
If I can go first, I was
ahead,
thinking
Mate.
about this actually. My main champion and favorite champion is Zach.
Okay.
I always imitate him whenever I'm doing it. I'm like, let's bounce. Like I love just like playing as him.
You are
And
a
if
Zach
they
player, I
made
can
him, I think he'd be a I think he'd be a green orange. And I think it would be the first one of its kind because unless I'm wrong, because there's a legends tab that we can see all the leaders in card type. I was just looking at it. Yeah. Is there a green? Oh, but Lee Sin. Okay.
Leona's green yellow. Or no, you said what did you say?
Orange, green orange.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But having someone kind of like set, because I read him, where if someone's about to get hit, for example, and they get blown up by a spell, instead you can tap your leader, and then he kind of goes back to base and has to like wait a turn to ready back up or do something like that. Because I just love playing as beefy, tanky guys, and so Moldy Bear, Darius, but I also have a soft spot for Teemo because I like being annoying.
Oh God.
Shout out to Mark.
Never.
Me too.
By the way, I will say for Teemo, jokes on all of us because they've released some OP Teemo cards this week.
Oh yeah.
Like crazy Teemo cards. The hidden deck is gonna go nuts.
And-
That's all I'm
and
gonna
he's-
say.
And he's Blurple.
Dude, he is
Of
nuts.
course, you
Dude.
purple, bro. Listen to me. Anyone, I'm sure they're going to, and I can see Stash playing Teemo.
Mhm.
But I could definitely see Riot like riding on the coattails of Teemo, just because like
Oh my god.
He's cute, and he
This
looks
card
good.
already,
He's
I'm reading it.
marketable, bro. He's a marketable character.
very marketable. Him and Yasuo. I'm
he's-
surprised.
He's
I mean,
Riot's Pikachu and Eevee.
seriously.
It's funny because Wochuk asked, he's like, "Oh, I want to play the game. Who's the sword guy?" And I was like, "That's Yasuo." He's like, "All right, that's what I want to play." So,
But yeah, but yeah.
what would you create, Devin? Who's your favorite character?
Me? Well, the Markov said it first. So I main Kale Kassadin. I'm surprised Garen's on. You said Garen is going to be
He's
the,
in-
He's in that
he's in
starter.
the starter thing. The
I
format.
mean Kale Kassadin.
Fizz.
I like
Yeah,
Fizz.
Shark!
Kale and Kassadin for sure. Leona I used to mean back in the day.
That's my girl.
Who else?
Pick one, and what would it do?
I love Kassadin, bro.
What would Kassadin do?
What would Kassadin do?
I feel like something similar to Miss.
He has to have a spell shield, right? He has to have some kind of.
Yeah. Well, the Rift Walk is something that's gonna be awesome. So like, I would assume that he has a mechanic to where he's definitely gonna be able to gank, right? Move to moving from. But I think he's gonna be able to move from battlefield to base. Is base right?
Mhm.
Without cost, whether or without not without cost, but without whether or not he's rested or not, because of Rift
That'd be
Walk,
cool.
he's gonna be able to just boom, 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 and multiple times. Something in that, some mechanic like that, I would say.
Can
Yeah.
I'm sorry. but I have to bring up a card because I just thought about it.
Of
In
course.
case they make him Mordekaiser and his ultimate, bring one creature from each base into a battlefield and they have to fight each other.
They have to fight him out, bro.
That's dope.
That would be insane.
That is sick.
Or something where he says when he battles somebody in the battlefield, he could take if
Take
he
their soul?
he could just focus one champion, like kill the rest or something. I don't know, something like
You
that.
could also take souls and like make a token or something, kind of like Victor.
Yeah.
or-
Senna would be
Yeah.
something cool. Like
Sorry,
that.
Skinner.
No, you're good. You're no problem at all. My favorite. I'm a support main, and Leona's already here, so I'll choose somebody else. I would say it's kind of a sleeper, but Morgana is up there big time. But it's between Morgana and Nami. I play a lot of Nami.
Nami.
I think having an ability kind of like her ebb and flow, where it like heals and then damages. It'd be cool if like when you assign damage with her, she like heals another character or something in that sense, where like she's damaging and then it's bouncing back and healing or something like that. I think that would be a cool ability for her, and maybe have something to do with her bubble also, or like her wave, like her ult. Maybe you like, I don't know. There's no knockups in this game, but like maybe it does like a minus to all the characters for the wave. I don't know, something to do with her wave.
Or
But I
maybe
think
tap all of their like enemy creatures on the battlefield.
something like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And Morgana, yeah, she would definitely be OP. Pop her ult, which hopefully is a card, and just like grasp everybody. So I don't know. I think it's a lot of opportunity for some cool stuff.
Nice. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit because I already know Master Yi's coming out, and that was the first champion I've ever played. And this was before he was jungle, or maybe he was meant to be jungle. And because I was lower in the ranks, I just kept going mid Yi, and I was just eating everybody up.
Just running down the red.
Yeah, I was just running down mid, and just like the attack that just like hits everybody, just eat them up.
Q.
This
Yeah.
Q, yeah.
Yeah,
So
what is-
I would say that's going to be his printed ability, but it's going to work probably very similar to like First Strike, right? So he'll apply his damage
Okay.
first.
like that.
And then you move into combat.
Okay.
I like that. He
That's
assigns
dope.
damage
I like that a lot.
before the damage
You
stuff.
got onto that, yep.
So I have a question. Who do you think? Because let's say Magic terms, who's going to be the first champion with Death Touch?
Elise. Oh no, Karthus. Karthus.
Probably Karthus. Oh,
Karthus
Karthus
is a
ult.
good one.
What about Karthus ult,
Karthus
dude?
was gonna be stupid.
Next turn, kill all characters, but it like
Okay, bro. Yeah,
That's
you must
fine.
make him a
But-
13.
Okay.
but it takes a turn.
I think it's gonna be anyone that has grievous wounds, right? So you're gonna have someone maybe Fizz, singed.
Another thing that's cool now that you say that, not only do we have the characters and like the lore and all this stuff, but you can like just start printing the items like Zonia's. You could have like Death Cap. You could have like all the cool stuff like Bloodthirster or whatever. Maybe
Guardian Angel.
yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be
Dude,
nuts.
this is gonna be fun. This is
It's gonna be nuts.
what's fun, and when I mean fun, not necessarily the gameplay, but fun is fun in the sense of like some of the stuff that we can like. We're gonna do.
Shout out to Mikey. I don't know whether to be complimented or to be insulted, but I don't care. He's the man. It's that, and then I moved to top lane Garen when I realized that's how I needed to start playing.
Yeah, bro. I think Garen is literally the #1 champion to start playing the game and learning the mechanics. And then when it comes to skill shot, is Lux, right? Garen, Lux, boom. Annie's one of those. Oh, where's Annie at?
She's in the set. She's in the four
Yeah,
player thing.
Annie's gonna be.
She's one of
broken.
my favorite characters in the game. Also,
Tibbers is gonna be
Tibbers,
stupid.
Tibbers, gonna stun the whole battlefield. Tibbers, dude, I can't wait, dude.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're all super stoked about it. And as much as I'd love to keep talking about it, I do unfortunately need to wrap up the show.
No, we're going for one more hour.
Yeah, but obviously it's something that we love talking about,
You
so we'll
would be a
definitely
natural
continue. Yeah,
Susan is good.
You're like Kyle.
Mhm.
Wukong.
Sorry, we keep cutting you
Oh
off.
my God, sorry,
We're
Stefan,
chatting
I'm
with the
sorry,
chat.
bro.
It's all good. You guys are just trying to get me murdered by my wife. All good.
I thought you stay on longer.
But yeah, so before we sign off, I definitely want to do top picks with you guys too. Devin, so we'll start off with you. What you got anything going on this week besides watching Worlds? Anything that non TCG related going on?
I actually might be going to Orlando. Might
Nice.
be going to Orlando. I'll be going to Orlando with my girlfriend and
Okay.
either Orlando or St. Augustine.
Very
Ooh.
nice.
I've heard wonderful things about St. Augustine. For the amount of time
That's great.
I've lived in Florida, I've yet to go.
Bro,
Very, very fun.
It's beautiful. Not only is it beautiful, but it has like that old like that Spanish like you know the Spanish vibe and it's just relaxing, and they have these little like wineries and these little tapa areas, and like the architecture is beautiful and it's relaxing. It's like it's almost I don't want to say it's similar to the Keys because the Keys you can party, but it's like that type of like getaway where it's calm and fun, you know.
Nice.
For sure.
I definitely have to do that sometime soon.
Yeah.
What about you, Skinner? What anything interesting going on this weekend, non-TCG related?
Non-TCG related, not really. Yeah, obviously Worlds that'd be TCG related, so not that I can think of. I'm just really excited for next Tuesday to get together with y'all and play some Riftbound, but other than that, I don't have much going on. Nothing to. I'm a boring guy. Nothing to. We're just working and playing
swinging
TCGs and keeping the wife happy. That's it.
Fair. What about you, Mustache?
Well, first, I was honestly expecting a roast from Devin when he brought up his girlfriend, but nothing came out, which is good. If you guys want to find out what it is, like the video, and I'll come on next time. But what I'm doing, I'm counting down the days for Superman and Fantastic Four to watch those in the theater. But I'm also waiting to play with Devin again in League and Riftbound.
Yeah, that's
2-0 against him in Riftbound, by the way. Just wanted to bring that up.
Bro,
Anyway,
he makes me go, okay, whatever.
but I think that's it for V.
Awesome. Yeah, and for me, yeah, obviously, I will be tuned into Worlds. Saturday, we do have a kid's birthday party to go to on the beach. I'm particularly not a big fan of the beach, but my kids and my wife are, so I
hate
will
the
have the
beach.
AirPod in, listen, see what going on. And I already told my wife, I said I might be preoccupied.
I feel bad for the cleaning of the car with that sand, bro. Wow.
And then Sunday, I'm actually considering going over to a case tournament over on the West Coast. I think it's called Mystic Forge Games or something like that. It's a brand new store.
Where they're at? Where they at?
Give me a second. I will find out.
That's fun.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to do now with a little bit extra time that I have is just kind of explore some of the stores outside of South Florida.
Yeah.
We do get a lot of people that come visit us from the West Coast. I'd love to see what they experienced, for their weeklies and stuff like that, and maybe even get a chance to visit some Central Florida stores too.
Yeah.
Just again, like I'd love to understand and see what the Lorcana scene is like in those areas, because
as you're about to pull something up, it's funny that you say that. So when I was traveling between here and California a lot, I would do that, and I was go to all these other stores, bro. It's so interesting how just not even interesting. It's very fascinating to see how some of these stores and their culture over there, and and what we could be doing better. Not even that, just experiencing just their culture and their vibe. And it's not always just about business, right? It's about just going there and just experiencing. So it's fun, man. You're gonna have a good time.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, yeah, Mystic Forge Games. From what I understand, they're a brand new store, and they're celebrating their opening with a Lorcana case tournament with top 2 mats, and they are located in Punta Gorda. So yeah, that's about 2.5 hours from me. Okay. So but yeah, something to do Sunday. They think they've got like 20 plus people signed up, $25.
That's fun.
When you said West Coast, I don't know why I thought you were going to California.
Oh.
I'm like, Punta Gorda, that's not in California.
Are you prepared for the tournament? Traveling that far to get first place, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's always the goal. Yeah, I
went. We can ask you what you're going to be bringing.
A comfort pick.
I know that comfort pick.
Yeah, I won't be driving 5 hours both ways to play some jank. But no, I'm looking to have fun. I've been playing a lot more Lorcana recently. Surprisingly, I didn't get to play a lot at SSG because of the production and stuff like that. And then I finally got an opportunity to play at one of the premier events. But I
haven't opened one pack of Jafar.
You need to practice, bro, so we could take you away from get you on the maybe get you on the roster.
I
You're
gotta
gonna
start
have-
flexing, bro. You're gonna have to start pairing me inside the booth with somebody, bro.
That's awesome. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, talking about Lorcana, Riftbound. We'll have a lot more coming in the coming weeks for more Lorcana, Riftbound, and more than that. Before we sign off, though, I do want to mention we do have some or a reminder that we have our year one celebration events. So in July, every Saturday, right, Devin?
Yep.
So every Saturday, keep a look at our socials to see the exact game and the date. But they're going to be enhanced locals for Saturday. Come by, celebrate a year at SSG, and something to do during the month of July while we're waiting, because we got July, August, September, October, and then hold on, we got August. August is the SSG Invitational for Lorcana. September starts the Fabled release.
Mhm.
September, October is
Hopefully a
Riftbound. So,
DLC. In
yeah, hopefully we
September.
get a DLC. So the
Oh,
summer.
guys, Stefan, I'm excited for these DLCs, bro. We're gonna have some. I'm telling you. Once we know the everything, bro, the innovation.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice to finally like take a break from running the shows and events to actually going to the
play
shows
in
and
them.
events.
Yeah.
I agree.
But yeah, awesome. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and have a great evening. And we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.